Hi guys, gals and non-binary pals, welcome back to Budget with Ira. My name is Ira and on this channel we talk about budgeting, paying down debt and saving up for the life that you truly deserve. If that sounds like something you'd like to watch, please consider subscribing to the channel because bestie, we do have a lot of fun around here. We really do. Today's video is Budget Bestie episode 3. Budget Bestie is a new series that we're doing where people anonymously share their budget with me. I take a look at it and make decisions about what I would do if I was in their circumstances. This is not financial advice. However, it's quite fun to have a look at somebody else's budget. Today's video is a doozy, so let's get straight into it. So today we've got another UK person. So there's only one income for this family of 4 and they say that they work in a stressful job and they never seem to have any money to just enjoy life. They say that their number one financial goal is to save up and pay down debt and just save up for a better life. So it looks like they've got a lot of bills and we'll go through that later. And there's a little bit of debt, so probably we'll need to sort of think about a debt repayment plan as well. So when I asked them on the form, what are you currently saving for? They say, I've got so many of your gorgeous envelopes in every single category you can think of and they are all just empty. Every bit of spare money each month seems to just disappear no matter how much they plan. They say that they're very much impulse spenders and tend to get treats for little happiness boosts, which I get can be really important, but long term it's never going to help you out, is it? This little bit at the bottom I think is really important, so this will really help with decision making. Myself 42, hubby 42 and 2 sons aged 12 and 16. Hubby can't work due to ill health. If he stands too long or walks too far, being tested for everything and the doctor can't diagnose why this happens. This has also led to depression, which can't be medicated due to not mixing well with other medications, which is like a real shame. So only my wage covering all expenses, no benefits aside from child benefit, as apparently I earn too much for hubby to claim anything. Oldest will be going to uni in 2 years, which I'm already worrying about how we'll afford it. I dream of being debt free and being able to enjoy life a bit more with my boys and hopefully one day have a nice family holiday. Our boys have never been abroad. Wow. Our whole lives turned upside down when the hubby's medical issue started 5 years ago and we went down to one wage and we just can't seem to get on top of it. He was a chef previously, so used to be being active on his feet all day and now he's the complete opposite. I'd so appreciate hearing your thoughts and hopefully getting some ideas. Sorry for unloading on this. I don't talk about it much as hubby feels guilty for being ill even though it's not his fault, so I just put on a brave face and just carry on. In that I can hear a lot of guilt, like that person feels really guilty and they shouldn't. But yeah, let's see what we can do and let's go ahead and let's get budgeting, bestie. Okay, so let's get started. So we've got the paycheck bill tracker here and we're thoroughly doing the current budget. So what is reality right now? So let's start with income, and income is in 2 parts. So there is a monthly wage and that is $2,119 per month. And then every 4 weeks they get child benefit, which is $145. Okay, so what that means is 2,264. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna assume that that's just what comes in every month. Now, obviously, if you get paid child benefit every 4 weeks, you're gonna get paid 13 times a year. So there will be an extra one that you can do like extra stuff with anyway. So we'll figure out what we're gonna do with that later on, but let's go ahead and let's start looking at these bills. First of all, there is rent, and rent is relatively cheap, and that is £360. Then we've got car insurance, and obviously the car is really important because that's how they get to work. Then they pay for 4 mobile phones. So that's her partner, and then her 2 children, which is £96, which does seem pretty reasonable, I would say. Then there's a broadband, which is £46. I would definitely shop that to see if that is the cheapest you can get it, because 46 is a bit excessive, I'm not gonna lie. TV license is something that can't really be avoided. That's next, and that is $13.37. Let me put that in. Okay, and then the next thing they have is they have a subscription to Who Gives a Crap, which is toilet paper. I'm just gonna put Who Gives a Crap. And that is £36 every 3 months. So it works out at £12 a month. which when you consider toilet paper, I know it's really good, but it might be something that we consider getting rid of. And then they do Patreon. They haven't said who it is, but I'm assuming it's me. So we'll talk about that in a bit. And then their eldest son has a gym membership. He's 16, so it's not something that you'd expect him probably to pay for themselves. And the other son has jiu-jitsu, and that is £25. And then we have vape, which seems to be a lot. It's £60 a month. So I'm assuming that's for her and her partner. And then there's electric bill, which is 80, and then gas, which is 80. And then there's subscriptions. So let me tell you what their subscriptions are. So first there's Sky, which is £56 a month, which includes Sky Glass TV, Amazon Prime, which is £9.99, Disney, which is £7.99, Now TV, which is £4, and PlayStation, which is £9.99. So there's a lot of subscriptions there, and they all subscriptions, and they all seem really, really small, but they add up. It's £87.97, and then there's even more bills than what fit in here. So the next one is school lunches. So they pay for them to have school dinners, like a hot meal at school. It's £100 per child per month, which is £200 a month, which yeah, that might be something that might be going. A bit of a spoiler out there. So that's the general bills, and that comes up to £1,124.34, which leaves them with £1,139.66. So that is half of their money already gone. Then let's move over to this section here. So we'll call it envelopes, but it's not necessarily envelopes, but it's what I would put in an envelope. So we've got groceries here, and they say that they only spend £200 a month on groceries for a family of 4, which I don't know. That might be what the budget is, but what is actually spent might be different, but we'll see. And then there's diesel, which is obviously important. That gets them to work. That's £90. And then they say there's spending. So the budget is £50, but as they said, their issue is impulse spending. So it might be that they spend more than that as well. So the total is £340, which leaves them with £799.66. Now, there are no sinking funds that they've started or anything like that, and they do have debt, but the debt is larger than 2. So I'm going to move debt here. So this is now going to become debt. And the first one is a credit card, and the minimum for that is £40 a month. Then there's a Capital One credit card, and the minimum of that is £150. And then there's another credit card, and the minimum for that is £180. Then there's Credit Union, and the minimum for that is £80, and then they owe some money to their mum, and they pay back £60 a month for that. So that comes up to £510, which leaves them with £289.66. So they're not currently saving anything or anything like that. So it leaves them with a buffer of £289.66, which seems super healthy. However, we know that there's probably something going on here. They're obviously overspending here. They're obviously overspending here. And they're getting nowhere with their debt. So they're not overpaying or anything like that. So that's just going to continue. So we're going to figure out 2 plans. So we need to figure out a debt plan, and then we need to figure out a budget plan, right? So let's go ahead and rub this off. Let's get a new one. I did get someone saying that I can just write the actuals down there. I will do that, but I'm going to jumble things around. So I won't do it this time, but that's what the current budget looks like. So, you know, relatively healthy, and then there's all of this down here. So I'm going to do what I think is probably what I would do in this scenario. But first, let's move over to the next budget and let's figure this out. Okay, starting over here, we're doing the new budget, and then the income is not going to change. So that's 2,264, right? So I'm just going to list the bills, and I'll come back to you in a sec. Okay, so here we are. So I haven't actually removed very much. So rent has stayed the same. Car insurance obviously is really important. 4 mobiles at £96. I think that seems like a reasonable deal. You might be able to do better when the phones get older, so you can get like SIM only things, and soon the 16-year-old will be old enough to have their own job and pay for their own contract and things like that. Broadband, you might be able to get a better deal. TV license is what it is. I'm going to put a star by Patreon because we'll talk about that later. Sun Gym, £15. Obviously that cost will go when they have their first job and things like that, maybe working throughout the summer, and they can pay for their own gym membership. Jiu-Jitsu is fine. Vape, I think you are paying a bit too much money for that. So £60 a month seems, unless you are an incredibly heavy smoker, £20 each a month should be fine. That'll get like quite a lot of stuff, and I definitely recommend the website called Mixed Juice. They've got really reasonable deals on vape liquid. So I would do that. If there is only one of you vaping, I'd do £20, but if it's the both of you, 40 seems reasonable. Electric and gas are what they are, and then subscriptions I've cut down to 40. So I know you said that this is your partner's lifeline and it's really important. It's just that there's only so much entertainment that one person can have, and I think you are really overpaying for a lot of very similar services. So what I would do is I would definitely cut that in half, but there's a plan. So let's move over to the envelope section. So obviously we've got groceries here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase your groceries to £300. So that doesn't sound like a lot more. You're saying that you can cope on 200, but you need to increase your groceries because your children, like I wouldn't send them to school without a packed lunch. Like I would do that rather than having like a school meal. Like it just seems like really expensive. That's £100 per child you're saving. Oh, sorry, let's go back up to here, sorry. So the bills in the new word will come up to $844.37, which is way less than half. And that leaves you with $1,419.63. So yeah, giving you a little bit extra groceries. So you're spending an extra 100 to save 200. Do you know what I mean? Thank you for the sale. The plan would be to like them to make their own lunch before they go to school. And then if you can get by with £90 a month of diesel, do it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do mum spending and dad spending. Okay. So there's caveats to this, right? So it looks like you're in the previous budget, it looks like you like allocated £50 to spending, probably for both of you, or maybe just you, but both of you were spending and probably more than the 50. So what I'm going to say is you can give yourself £28 a month spending, and that is because you have Patreon there. Now, if that patron gives you joy enough to keep it, then keep it, but you only get 28. But if you want to get rid of it, then you can have 40, then you're spending the same, yeah? And then dad's spending would be 40 as well. However, if dad has much more value in subscriptions than any spending money, then that money can go towards the subscriptions and he can keep it the way it is. So you've got a choice. You can't have both. You can't have spending money and Patreon. You can't have all of your subscription and spending money. You have to choose between the two. In this world at the moment, it doesn't look like you can afford both. So that's what I would do. And I would also include a household category, just because it looks like, because we've got rid of the who gives a crap, because that's ridiculous. Like if you're not in a financial position to be able to afford £12 a month on toilet paper, I wouldn't. So introducing household, which I would give yourself £40 every month. So yeah, we've cut who gives a crap, we've cut the subscriptions, we've cut vape down. With the vaping, if you are incredibly heavy smokers and £40, that doesn't seem like it's going to last you. You do need to get some NHS support. You can get free vaping liquid from smoking clinics, which is like a free NHS resource. So yeah, you can definitely do that. You shouldn't be spending that much unless you're buying like luxury stuff, but you're not in a position to get luxury stuff at the moment. So anyway, what that comes up to in terms of your envelopes, and I would do these cash, but it's up to you, would be £498, which leaves you with £921.63. So you already got more money filtering going through. So I would introduce some sinking funds. So the first one I would do is Christmas, because you're saying how it stresses you out and like you don't plan for it. I'd do £40 a month until you get to like in a year. That would give you like significant amount of money. Then plan for your birthday and plan for his birthday. Yeah, because you know it's not easy and you do need those treats. But if you put away £20 a month just for that, you can do lovely stuff. And then obviously do the same for son 1 and son 2. So £20 each as well. You probably always want to do that. And it works out £5 a week as well. So if you want to do £5 a week and actually have some cash envelopes like that, do it like that. I'd do a uni fund for not just now, saving up until he goes to uni. I'd do it throughout the time he's at uni, and then when the next one goes to uni as well. So I would do that just in case, and don't tell them about it, but just put 20 quid in a month, because they're always going to want 20 quid. They're always going to need 20 quid sent to them. And then I would start doing holiday as well. I'd do £20 a month for now. And then you can sort of have weekends away and like staycations and things like that. And then you can eventually do more once we've figured out your debt plan, yeah? So I would definitely do that. That comes up to £160, which leaves you with 761.63. So next I want to move over to debt. So first of all, you have a debt minimum, okay? So the minimum you have to pay to debt, that is actually £510. And then what I would also do is a debt snowball. Yeah, and then I would promise an extra £190 to debt, which would make 700. So no matter what, until your debt is clear, I would put at least £700 to it. That leaves you to 61.63. And then what I would do is I would start doing an emergency fund. So I would do an emergency fund and do £50 a week until it's at £1,000. When it is at £1,000, I might consider making the holiday fund £50 a month and then the emergency fund £20 a month, just to slowly top it up, just while you've got that. I kind of move the money around once you've got your priorities sorted. But your savings would come up to £50, which would leave you with £11.63, which is your buffer. Yeah, so there are times where you would get that additional child benefit payment. With that, I would save that and put that towards something like big that you might need. Maybe chuck it towards your emergency fund, maybe chuck it towards debt or something like that. The other thing, what I would probably suggest is if you wanted to accelerate some of these sinking funds or accelerate some debt, just because your husband is not able to stand up and things like that, he can do a lot of stuff from home. So like the sorts of things I'm thinking about is filling out surveys online, editing videos for people. People pay to have subtitles written for their videos and things like that. So things like that, which will sort of make him not need his subscriptions as much, keep him entertained, because he's doing like work like that. He's young enough to understand technology to be able to do that, and it's not going to affect your benefits either. So I definitely recommend looking at sort of low earning at home jobs that he can just sort of plug in some headphones and crack on with stuff. So I'd definitely recommend that. So this is the budget, but before we go and do that, let's go ahead and take a look at what I think this debt should be looking like. Okay, so we've got a bit of paper because like we got to get serious about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the debt snowball plan, yeah? I'm going to put these debts down in order that I believe would have the highest interest from what I know. So I don't know what the interest rates are, so I'm going to do this debt snowball plan based off of 0 interest, but I've added in a little bit of room for breathing to allow for it, if that makes sense. So the highest bit interest I believe would be the Vanquis card, because I think they are predatory lenders, and what you owe in total to them is £4,000. And your minimum to Vanquis is 180. And then you have Capital One, which is probably the next highest. You owe 2,500 and your minimum is £150. Then you have the Credit Union, which is 1,500 and your minimum for that is 80. And then you have your Danske Bank, which is a credit card, and that is only 400. So your minimum on that is 40, and then you owe your mum £1,000, and the interest on that is 0. But I think it's sensible to include that and pay off. But £60 is quite a high return rate, but it is what it is. So what you owe in total is actually £9,400, and your minimum payment is 510, which is about 25% of your salary, which is crazy. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be snowballing £190, yeah, to get this debt done. If you add £190 to the 180, yeah, 190 to the 180, that would mean your snowball for Vanquish starts off at £370, yeah? And if you pay £370 every single month, it will clear your debt in 11 months. If you left it without it, it would take a year and a half. It would take just so much longer, and because it would take longer, it would take even longer than that as well, because the interest would be added on all the time. So that would be paid off in 11 months, yeah? By the time we get round to this Capital One, in 11 months time, just by paying that 150, it would be down to 1,650, okay? And then when you add that £370 to your 150, yeah, that would mean your snowball would be 520, yeah? So your snowball is already higher than what you were totally paying, yeah? Because you've already paid off that. You've got 180 plus 190 plus 150. So your snowball's 520. And then what that would actually do would mean that in 2 months, you would clear that. You would clear that second debt. So we're already a year and a month in, and it's like the 2 highest ones are gone. So by the time we get down to Credit Union, it'll be 13 months later. So in 13 months, you would have paid off £1,040. So all you'll have left to pay is £450. So your snowball would be the 180 plus the 190 plus the 150. And the snowball is actually £600 at that point. So you'll clear that in 1 month, okay? So then the next month, Credit Union will be done. And by the time we get down to your Danske Bank, it'll be 14 months later. And that would have been paid off just by paying the minimum, depending on what the interest is, yeah? So we're assuming that's gone just by paying minimums. So when we go to Mum, 14 months later, and it definitely should be the last one paid off because there's no interest, in 14 months, it will be at £160, yeah, which you can just clear, okay? So the paying off Mum will be paid off by itself in 16 months at the £60. So yeah, so this would be debt-free in 15 months. Just with a snowball of 190. And then after that, you have £700 per month to do whatever you want with. You can like use it towards holiday, you can do whatever. So that would be the debt snowball plan and the debt approach that I would take. Okay, so that is the budget all done and dusted. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think about it. It's just something I wanted to mention, that sometimes having Patreon and extra subscriptions are real lifelines, give you a lot of escapism and things like that, and they really, really serve really well. But sometimes you need to be realistic in your life. Is am I enjoying it more than having a coffee? Yeah, so am I enjoying it more than having a bit of spending money to buy whatever I want? So you need to sort of sometimes balance. Sometimes you can't have everything. So yeah, just doing that and just getting a bit of a handle on these sorts of things. So there's no point every single day worrying about your son going to uni when you can actually make something happen now. So yeah, so that's what I would do. This is not financial advice, but that's what I would do. Besties, thank you so much for being here today. Hi guys, gals and non-binary pals, thank you so much for getting through to the end of the video. You know I love it when you get through to the end of the video. Please make sure you give this video some love, make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe, and if you are going to comment, please use this emoji. I think we did a good job with today's budget. I think we have set up a debt repayment plan that could work and get them out of debt relatively quickly. They can save a bit for a holiday, they can not even worry about their son going to uni as well if they stick to that plan and stop impulse buying, because bestie, like, impulse buying is like a real issue for a lot of people, and it has been for me in the past. But what I have realized, the gratification you get from buying something that you want there and then doesn't last very long, but the gratification of just paying down a water bill when you know you've saved up for 6 months for it and you don't even need to stress about it, that far outweighs anything. So playing the long game is definitely worth it, but it is harder to do. Thank you so much to that anonymous person who submitted that budget, bestie. It truly means the world. If you would like me to take a look at your budget, have a look at the link in the description, because I might be able to take a look at it. Thank you also to the channel members and the patrons who support me so much. I can't tell you how much your support means to me. Thank you. I can't tell you how much your support means to me. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. If you would like to be on a Patreon or a channel member, please take a look at the link in the description. You will not regret it, bestie. That is all we have for today's video. Thank you so much for being here. Until the next budget, bestie, I would like you to have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, and have a wonderful budget. Always remember, don't trust Ira. And bestie, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.